can see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us slaves. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning. It's Monday, October 7th, 2024, and welcome to episode 779 of the TheLOTSProject morning show, where the coffee's strong, the opinions are stronger, and everything's always filter-free. I'm Brian, your host, and today I am enjoying a light Nicaraguan, no, not a light Nicaraguan, a light Nicaraguan roast, and it's fantastic. It's from foodforestfarms.com, where you can get 10% off with the discount code LOTS10, and the shipping is always free. While you're there, check out that C4 Club. First, today, it's been a couple weeks since we've been together. Lots of different reasons for that. We'll kind of go over them today and get all caught up with what's been going on. But first, let's jump over into the live chat and see who's hanging out in the coffee crew. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How we doing? John Palmer in early. Well, Food Forest Farms in real early, setting the alarm last night for the show this morning. Knew it was going to be around. John Palmer, good morning and good day to you. Cormac, how we doing? Morning to you. Off Grid Ping. Canadian Farmstead said he was going to be listening while on the road. He types, yay. I think that might be because he's on the road. Food Forest Farm says, welcome back. Thank you. Thank you, sir. The Big B in Tennessee. Yeah. Big B in Tennessee. Only Brian likes that name. Good morning, Rewilder Life says good morning. Almost ended up in the vertical feed. Not awake enough for that. Yeah, we'll see what happens over in the vertical feed. Michael Sparks was in last night when I set it up. Says what's up. And she also says, Rewilder Life also says she's so dang tired, but woot, the show is back. Yeah, guys, if it hadn't have been 2 weeks. If the Starlink hadn't have gone down a couple weeks ago and I had been off for a week before last week, this probably wouldn't be happening. So we're gonna wing it today. We're gonna roll. We're gonna roll through and see how it goes. But I'm fucking beat, guys. It's been a haul. It's been a haul. The Starlink stuff was bad enough. Going offline again, and then just spiraled right into work days at Delinquent Gully, and then SRF. And I don't think I've my eyes have been closed past about, I think 5:30. I think this morning when I actually stayed in bed a little later than I normally do till 5:30 was the latest I've slept in weeks, and been getting to bed way later than my normal time. Lil Life says, she had a wedding that she attended, which is pretty crazy. This weekend, we talked a lot about community at SRF, both privately and in some live streams and in a lot of the presentations. I was watching kind of what was going on with Rewilder Life, and she actually was in the wedding. She was part of the wedding party, best man, best woman. I'm not sure how it went down. I saw pictures. She looked fantastic. You clean up nice for a farm girl. But she met the person through the Survival Podcast and through Survival Podcast groups, and there was a ton of community there from their local TSP groups. It's amazing the people you meet when you share interests, when you share groups, and you have a common goal or a common mindset, and you come together. It's really it's cool to watch. Rewilder Life says midnight 3 times this week for bed. Yeah, I hear you. I saw The Far Side of Midnight for the first time in a long time last week. I mean, I used to bartend, and last call was 4 a.m. I used to be a night owl. I used to go to work at 10 o'clock at night, get off at 6 a.m, that kind of stuff. I used to be a night owl. I've slowly transitioned over my life into a semi-morning person. I mean, obviously, I get up every morning and do this with you guys when I have internet, when I don't have other obligations. But I'm relatively I'm up that's around the 5 o'clock, 5 to 6, and then even on the weekends, if we get to sleep in, it isn't like we sleep in like when I was a teenager, sleep in till 10, 11. I mean, I'll be lucky if I see 8 ever again. Between the dogs and the light and just naturally waking up, usually between 5 and 6, I pop awake without an alarm. I don't go to bed late. I usually make it to 9:30, 10, 10:30 at the latest, maybe 11. I was chatting with a friend that showed up at Delinquent Scully the first night when I stayed out there as camp host, and I saw like almost 2 a.m. Been a long time. Been a long time since that. So here's to some coffee. This Nicaraguan is fantastic, guys. Food Forest Farm's been really fueling me through this last 2 weeks. So how else is everybody how has everybody been? I missed you guys. I know you bust my balls and stuff about not being around, missing the show, things like that. I miss it when I don't get to hang out in the morning, but it was just definitely a situation where I had to dip out for a little while. So let's rewind and see what happens. I know I had my notes over here up on the screen from the last time I did a show. Would have been September 20th. Friday, September 20th was the last time I logged on for the show. We did a Friday show, we did a conspiracy show, and I took off. We did Corey and I did our normal Friday routine. We headed out to Delinquent Skull. Shit, 3 weekends ago. I headed out to Delinquent Scully for a weekend to stay and get some work done. We had a very productive weekend and wrapped up. We came home. Excuse me. We came home and I set the Starlink up. Starlink fired right up. It connected. I was doing some stuff, some internet work, and I was actually hooking a bird feeder I got as a product sample up to the internet. So it's got a camera in it. It's got a wireless camera that you can see the hummingbirds come up through the app. It's pretty cool, actually. But I was hooking that up to the Wi-Fi, and it was connecting, but all of a sudden it wouldn't do anything. I wasn't quite to the part where you could see the camera, but I was going through the settings and connecting and pairing and all that stuff, and it paired and then nothing. And so then I was looking into things, and the Starlink router. So how Starlink works is you have a router and you have, well, this is the version I have. You have a router, and then you have the receiver, the dish. The little flat thing you see that when you say Starlink, you think about that little stand with the dish on it. It articulates around and finds the satellites and stays in contact there. Well, the router itself puts out a Wi-Fi network. So you can connect to the router, you can change the name, you can, just like you could any other internet router, wireless router in your house. So I had signal coming from the router. Hey, Delino, how's it going? Good morning to you. I'm not sure what that says over in the vertical feed. Anyway, the router the router. I was connected to the router. I was connected to the Wi-Fi network it was putting out, but I wasn't getting any internet. And it took me a second to kind of figure it out. But then I went to do some other looking on the web and do some research why this camera wouldn't continue to set up. And yeah, I didn't have any internet, but the Wi-Fi was still there. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I start digging in, and randomly our dish, the part that receives the signal and sends the signal, the internets to good morning to you. It sends the internets to the router. It just stopped responding. It wasn't articulating. It wasn't powered on. It wasn't sending out any signal. And basically, I rebooted it. I did all the things, like all the tech things that I could figure out. 2 months ago, I recently went through troubleshooting with Starlink support when we got hit by lightning. I went through all of those steps, and it was dead, like nothing. Couldn't do anything. Switched cables, switched powered on, powered off, moved it, took it apart, put it back together, all the things. And I was pissed. I was pissed. 2 weeks we waited when we got hit by lightning, and I was like, here we go again. Here we go again. Corey's going to have to travel for work. I'm not going to be able to get jack shit done because I won't have internet. I won't be able to do the show. And, rolling up really fast was Delinquent Gully Workdays and SRF, which I had a ton of prep to do. And I was wholly unprepared for both. I wouldn't want to say wholly unprepared, but there was a lot of stuff that should have been more dialed in that I wasn't happy with. Everything went fine. But personally, I wish I had been more prepared. So I contact support, and it was the normal. It was 2 days for them to get back to me. As soon as they got back to me, and this time I knew what they were going to ask for. I knew the pictures they were going to ask for and all that from the last time. Excuse me. So in my initial message to them, I just sent everything that they asked for last time. So I was like, oh, this should be cut. This should be quick. The guy will write back and it'll have all the information. He'll be able to send me a new dish and we'll get going with it. Well, he wrote back and he said, thanks for all the information. Now let's do some other troubleshooting. So they must make you jump through the hoops regardless. So we did some other stuff that really didn't make sense. And it was just irritating to me. He's asking me to do these things. And it wasn't like I could just say I did them. I had to like send him pictures and shit. I was like, this is Bush League shit that you're having me do. Like I have done this and far more to try to fix this shit because I didn't have internet for the last 2 days and I didn't have contact from you. I'm like, I fix shit for a living for long enough that I know that that I need to check my cable ends and check my where my cables plug in, the ports where they plug in. I need to verify there's no corrosion on things. Like I did all this and a ton more to try to get this working. Wasn't like I was trying to scam them for a warranty claim, but I guess they got to do their due diligence. So I worked with them, and fairly quickly, it's amazing. It takes them so long to respond, but as soon as Starlink responds, as soon as you actually get to interact with someone, it goes very quickly. They're very responsive once you're actually online with someone. And so it went fairly well. They said, "Yep, we'll ship you out another unit, and and we'll cover it. Warranty claim. We'll give you a free month of service, and you just got to send the other one back within 15 days." Which reminds me, I should probably do that today, so that I don't get charged the $600 or whatever it is for the new one that I don't need, or the old one that's broken that I don't want. And so that was fantastic that that was on its way. But again, it was going to be, the whole it's shipping. It's going to take time to get here. And it ended up being about a week and a half. I think it was Tuesday. Was it Tuesday that the Starlink showed up, or Monday? Monday afternoon. Monday afternoon. Monday afternoon. So it was a week and a day. It was a week and a day this time. One thing that I asked him when I was troubleshooting it online, and everybody, by the way, Corey's having a day off today, but she had to get up because I was going to do my show. So she's in there having her tea, and I think she has to do a little work today, but, you guys are special enough that she's not too angry with me that she had to get up in the morning and not be able to sleep in. But while I had tech support on, I asked him if I order a second setup, if I order a second dish and router, and possibly I might consider doing it with the newer version. And I have a roaming plan since we're in an RV, since we were traveling around, we're kind of staying here. The roaming plan with Starlink allows you to use different locations. It's not like your home address, and they have an option in there where you can turn it on and off. So like if you're a camper in the summer and you don't use it in the winter, you can pause the service. You don't have to pay for it every month. That comes with an extra cost every month to have the roaming plan. I asked him, I said, if I order this second setup and I get it, can I just pause it? And then if something happens to my equipment, I pause the broken one and stay in. Camper's really wobbly right now, guys. I don't know if it was the 3 to 4 inches of rain we got with that last hurricane or what, but it's progressively been getting bouncier. So either we got to get the fuck into our cabin or I got to figure out how to stabilize everything around here. But I asked him if we could pause it and then just turn on the other one when we need it. And he's like, yeah, that's perfectly legit. And then I could call customer service. I could work with customer service. Hey, good morning, Jim. Thanks for popping in. Should be live over on Noster. I don't know. It didn't refresh over there. Oh yeah, there it is. And thank you. Thank you for the zap. It didn't refresh over there, but thank you. And yes, she did look great in those red combat boots. That red dress and combat boots, excuse me. So I could basically have the two Starlinks, one on pause, one active. If the active one breaks, I can pause that one, activate the new one, and then deal with the back end with customer service, getting the new one shipped. Because it takes 2 weeks. It takes over a week. And I'm really getting fucking sick of not having internet for extended periods of time. So 1 is done, 2 is 1, 3 is for me. I'm not getting 3 fucking dishes, but I will more than likely be ordering a second setup, pausing it, possibly. Some more developments came out of that too. But that's going to be the plan. Anyway, we got Starlink. We got it hooked up. We fired up the internet. What's up, IRS Internal Revenue Service? The IRS is in my vertical feed. Wah! And he called me Cracker. Dude has IRS Internal Revenue Service as his screen name and profile picture, and then rolls into the chat and says, "What up, Cracker?" Probably going to tell me I owe him fucking money too. Anyway, so we got our internet back on Monday. I could have done the show. I suppose I could have fired up the rest of the week, but I looked at my schedule and basically Tuesday through Friday, I was very tied up at Delinquent Scully hosting work days. Tim was going to be getting into town on Tuesday. We were going to have folks showing up starting Tuesday evening, rolling in Wednesday, Thursday, and culminating on Friday, and then moving over to SRF. And it just didn't make sense. This morning show, you know, I do it from 6 to 7. Then I got processing, I got uploading, I got other shit to get around. And I needed to be out at the property earlier than it would have allowed me. So I said, you know what? It's another 2-week break, and I don't like to do that. I don't like to throw off the momentum. But with being down for a week already, I said, you know what? I got to do it. So, yeah, got internet back. That was nice. Corey didn't have to travel for work anymore. She was very lucky to be able to have adjusted her schedule, so she wasn't full time having to run over and work for long days. She had some vacation coming up. She was able to shift some things around and make it work. We got through it. Not happy, not didn't enjoy it all that much, but we got through it. So that was the whole Starlink saga. We will. I'm going to work this week on getting a new one getting a new one ordered, figuring out which one we want to do. I think we want to go. Hey, Backwoods Butcher. Excuse me, I forget it's backwards when I'm looking at the screen. Backwoods Butcher had some fantastic. You can't really see it that good. Some fantastic sweatshirts and T-shirts on sale at SRF, and I have one on this morning because we ran the air kind of light last night, and it's nice and chilly in here. Nice and chilly in here for sleeping last night, but it was a little chilly in the morning. Also, I wanted to mention, and while I'm talking about his merch, I suppose I could turn around. Hold on, I can't. My chair, like, guys, you don't even realize I'm sitting in this little corner. I can't even turn my chair all the way around. I can't even turn my chair around. Hey, IRS says, cool channel. I see you do some cool reviews. Thanks, man. Definitely hit the sub and check out the show. I do it Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 Central every Monday through Friday. I put up a bunch of reviews. We're going to be starting to do a lot of projects out at an off-grid property I'm working on. So you'll be able to check that stuff out too. Appreciate you stopping by. Make sure you hit that like. So Kyle puts his T-shirts out the first day we were there. I was helping him unload them and set them up on his table. And this is what to do. Like, we bust on his balls and say that he isn't that bright sometimes, and he will say the same. This is some creative shit. So this is what the young man did to package his T-shirts. He wrapped them up like a roast and then used a meat tag on for the sizing. And I thought that was pretty creative. And then I wondered if that's just the only way Kyle knows how to tie up a knot or anything. But Kyle, great job on the T-shirts. And here, I can open this now. I saved it. I didn't even open it so I could save it and show it on the show how creative you were tying up your shirts. Good morning, Blakesley Acres. Good morning. Long time no see. Too bad you're not back with your employees making some fucking money. Get back to New York. Get that shop up and going. So this is the Backwoods Butcher, the body shop logo. I'm gonna have to do it here. There's the top. There's Senior with a hole in his skull and Effingham. Solid T-shirts, man. Solid design, solid T-shirts. I also got a nice T-shirt from Blakesley Acres. I appreciate that. It was nice to meet them. I want to thank everybody I met. I'll run through it a little bit after when we get to SRF, but I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everybody that came out and meeting new people and seeing old friends. But yeah. So anyway, let's get to what do you guys want to talk about? SRF? You want to talk about work days? What do you want? What do you want first? David Bryce over on the vertical feed says, "Do you know you look like the drummer for Rush?" Oh, from Rush, eh? I was thinking more like the bass player from the Bare Naked Ladies, but yeah, Rush will do. All right. Blakesley Acres says those guys got this. Did the new guys start yet, Joe? Or and then you just ran off? You had new guys start and then you just take off and like, hey, welcome, come on and work at my shop, and we work really hard. You gotta show up, you gotta be here, you gotta put the work in. And they're all excited. They're like, oh man, this guy's gonna be a slave driver, blah blah blah. But at least he gets in there and does it with us. And then he just takes off for fucking vacation. He threw the dicks in the compost and took off for Tennessee. Backwood says his new employees are great. Is that because you are one of them? Hey, David, thanks for the thumbs up. Appreciate it. Have a great day. Thanks for stopping in. And Backwards is Backwards Butcher is going to help Joe get caught up. Yes, tomorrow they're doing more. If you guys haven't stopped over at Kyle's TikTok, you definitely should. He's got some quality shit that's been rolling out lately. I've been enjoying watching it. So Workday. Let's talk Workday. Delinquent Scully Workday. If you don't know, Delinquent Scully is the prop tip Toolman Tim's property we've been working on developing. And it kind of has a tie to SRF. Michael Williams says that, yeah, he's an asshole. Hope you kicked him in the balls like you promised me. I didn't want to hurt the man. We definitely had some fun, Michael. Definitely had some fun. I didn't want to hurt him. I didn't want to. I guess I probably should have done it to make sure he doesn't pop out any more little Joes, because that's not what the world needs. Delinquent Gully is kind of loosely tied with SRF, not necessarily affiliated with it, but SRF was kind of a catalyst for the reason Tim ended up with a property in this area, in conjunction with SOE being there, him coming to Tennessee, being in the area, and then just through whatever channels ended up with a property about 45 minutes, I would say, south of Camden, where SRF was held. Yes, was. I'll talk about that in a little while. So we decided last year for the fall event, we had a work day. At that time, Tim and I had built an outhouse. There were there was no infrastructure besides the outhouse at the property. There were a couple of trails cut in, enough room to get out there. We had a couple campsites cut in, but that was about it. We had you remember last year, Corey? Was it Steve and Amby? Were there other campers? This Carrie stayed on. They probably had 4 campers. Yeah. I think we had 4 campers last year. People that were coming to Workday. We got a lot done. We got an 8x8 cabin done. We did one work day. We knocked that out in one day, and then one of the workers ended up staying. Michael Williams says he's gonna have 4 kids. Don't worry. Yeah. So one of the workers stayed in the cabin. It was great. We had a great time. We built a lot of community. We got work done. I can't even remember how many people showed up that day. I think it was 18. I think we ended up counting 18 people on site that first work day. So come to the second year, this year, Tim and I talked, and we wanted to have more opportunity for people to come. And it wasn't necessarily that we wanted more work done. Backwoods Butcher hitting the road 11 hours and 38 minutes to Joe's house. So we wanted more opportunity. We talked to people. They said, we couldn't make that one day, but we could have made the day before. We could have made the day after. And so Tim and I said, let's expand this. let's have multiple days. We'll have multiple projects we want to work on, and then maybe we have a community day. This was the idea going in. We were going to do some work days on Wednesday and Thursday, and then have more of a community barbecue or community building day on the Friday, and then move up to SRF. We thought it through a little bit. We probably could have thought it through some more, but it went well. We had campers start showing up, like I said, Tuesday night. A couple of groups rolled in Tuesday night. We ended up having for the week, I think it was 12. I don't think anybody came in that last day. I think we had 12 campers. And between the 3 days, we had over 30 people roll in and participate in the work days, which was phenomenal. It blew my mind. I never expected that kind of turnout. It was great. We got a ton done. We had a lot of hands. We had a lot of time, a lot of downtime. We had a huge list of projects. If anybody showed up and they said there wasn't anything to do, they just didn't ask. But we weren't slave drivers. It was hot. It was muggy. It was humid. It was, it's steep terrain. It's out in the woods. It was, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to work out there in general. It's not like you're walking out in your backyard and building a shed. You're climbing up a hill, up and down, carrying materials in and out, very little vehicle access. And then it's wears on you. So Tim and I understood this, and we had a lot to do, but we pared back and said, we'd really like to get one major project accomplished a day. And if that happens, fantastic. If more happens, even better. But we were just hoping to get something done. We got a ton done. We ended up getting a ton done. Wednesday, we started. Sean Mills from Hack My Homestead led a project for our water system that we're developing for Tim's cabin and likely surrounding cabins. We had a seep. Actually, it was on the board here this morning. I cleared it off because it looked kind of weird over my head. But basically, we have a seep or a spring that runs down near Tim's cabin, and it's not deep enough to pump water out of. And I talked about it on the show before it was done. We did some testing with a 5-gallon bucket that we sunk down into the ground where it runs, and the bucket filled up, and we were able to pump out of the bucket. Well, we decided to go a little further than that, and we took a 5-gallon bucket. We put a fiberglass screen and hardware cloth around the outside, sunk that and drilled holes in the side, sunk that bucket down into the water, but not as far. So the lip of the bucket was above the water. So now the water enters through instead of spilling over the top and filling it up, it's entering through the rocks and the screen and rocks in the bucket. Sorry. Filled the bucket with gravel also. So the water comes through the screen, through the holes, and filters in the rock. We then took a 3/4 inch PVC pipe and put it through the side of the bucket. So you got the bucket. We went through the side of the bucket, put a 90-degree elbow down so that the floaties on the top don't get sucked into the pipe. The water actually goes into the pipe from below and runs through the pipe. As it runs through the pipe, it goes downhill a little bit. And Tim and Sean stood in some water and some muck and fought a losing battle, basically shoveling quicksand, shoveling muck. If you've ever done it at the bottom, that silty muck that sits at the bottom of a stream. They were shoveling that, and they got it enough. And we sunk a 55-gallon drum down far enough that the pipe was able to have pitch down to the 55-gallon drum. Water runs into the drum. We put another 90-degree angle, a 90-degree fitting in the drum, and drop that all the way down to the bottom where we put some more gravel. So the way the system works is The water infiltrates into the 5-gallon bucket through the holes in the side, filters it there, runs through the 3/4-inch pipe over to the 55-gallon drum, goes down to the bottom of the 55-gallon drum, comes out of the pipe and forces the dirty water up to the top where we have an overflow, and it's constantly running out of the overflow. So basically a running system where we have 40 gallons of water in that sump that we can throw a pump in, pump it up to the cabin. Right now, we're just going to do that manually. We're going to take a plug-in 120-volt pump that I used for doing the testing. We're going to use that to pump up and fill a tote up at the cabin. So we'll have 350 gallons or however many totes we end up doing. And then that's going to be our water for the cabin, where we're going to be able to throw another pump on that, have it pressurized, have everything plumbed in, have a shower, have a water heater, have a sink in the cabin. And then we'll also be able to run water to other sites out of that sump. If we have to plumb in a second sump, where we can then have another 40 gallons, that's possible. If we want to plumb in more totes for storage other places and pump it up, that's possible. And then at some point, we'll probably transition the flow of water to the cabin to a direct DC pump. So basically solar water pump. And how it will work is we will pre-fill the tote by hand, not by hand, but by plugging the pump in. And then we will use a pump that is run by solar in conjunction with some float switches to run when the sun's out. And basically it'll pump up to the tote will overflow, come back down into the creek, and it'll be a big circle. And when the sun's up, if we've used water, it will replenish what we've used. If we haven't used water, it will just overflow and come back down in the creek and keep refreshing the water in the tote. So we'll never have any stagnant, still water. It'll completely be refreshing itself all the time. And it's coming to life. It's really cool to chat about these things. It's really cool to bullshit with Sean and design systems and talk about them, and it should work and theoretically, but to really have it physically in the ground and running was really cool. I was really excited about that, and I think it's going to work great. Next step right now is to get some water testing kit, and we're going to test the water in 3 spots. We're going to test it right out of the creek before it goes through anything. We're going to test it in that 55-gallon sump, and then we're also putting together a DIY Berkey filter for the cabin, and we'll test it there and send that in and see where we're at. See what's in our creek water, see how our filters are working, our pre-filter of the 5-gallon bucket, and then also the Berkey filter that we can set up. Obviously, we can test that with red dye or whatever. But yeah, get the 3 sample comparison across the board from the water there. So that's exciting. So that was Wednesday. We had some more people roll in and start camping. We had people staying in local hotels that came out and hung out. We got done with that project, and also that day. So back up to Tuesday, Tim got into town on Tuesday. He brought Becky and his future son-in-law Curtis, who was fantastic. I hadn't ever met him before. It was really good to meet him. What a really great guy. Yeah, he is. He will definitely be a good addition to their family. Tim busts on his balls pretty hard, so I'm pretty sure Tim likes him too. And is happy to have his daughter. Going to marry the guy in about a year. You know, I think he said next Halloween, not this coming one, but in another year they're going to have a cook wedding. So Curtis and Tim made 2 round trips to Lowe's and picked up enough material on Tuesday for two new 8x8 cabins. That was a lofty goal. That was like a home run goal for the weekend. But as we were working on the water project, other folks were manhandling all that material up the hill to a build location right behind Tim's cabin. So we decided that we were going to build small 8x8 cabins for both of Tim's daughters. When they come down, they're going to have their own little cabin out behind Dad and Mom and Dad. And so we got that built. We got the site picked out right behind Tim's. We carried all the material for 2 more, and another one was going to be a little further up the hill, up to that general area, which I thank you guys for anybody that carried material up the hill. Now that, I'll tell you in a second, we got one of the 2 cabins done, but all the material is up the hill. So makes my life easier because I'm building the next one by myself and I don't have to carry all that material all the way up the hill. I only have to carry it a little further. But so we did the water project and moved material. And man, those guys did a hell of a job moving material. It was hot. The stuff's heavy. And they were just like machines rolling up that hill all day, carrying material. We finished up the water project and had some community time. We Becky cooked food. Becky cooked food basically constantly for 3 days and fed everybody. No one, if anybody left there and said they were hungry, they didn't open their eyes because there was plenty of food everywhere. Had some community time, started up a fire. The Wednesday night was when we had the most campers on site. I think we had a dozen. And then Thursday, Friday, people started commuting back and forth to SRF for classes and camping. It was pretty cool event. So I was happy about that. People hanging around. Corey and I took off, actually went home and got some sleep because I had spent the night, Tuesday night, I spent the night out there welcoming guests. And then that's when I said, I saw 2 a.m. My buddy Worm stopped and we caught up on the porch of Tim's cabin till after 1 for sure, hanging out, bullshitting, and then I passed out. So Wednesday night I had to get some sleep. Got some sleep and came back Thursday morning. Thursday workday was another super productive day. Had some people put on building the cabin. We wanted to get, like I said, 2 cabins done. We ended up getting 1 built, but got on that early in the morning. People started building the cabins, building the cabin. And then we had help from a community member, David. That dude put us all to shame. The construction changes and adjustments that David showed us were absolutely fantastic. Basically, it's a new blueprint for these cabins that is 100 times easier. I was able to walk through it with him. I'm able to still see it because we didn't insulate anything. Hey, Jim, thanks for stopping. Have a great day. And he says goodbye to Corey. Appreciate you stopping as always, Jim. And thanks for watching the digital feed over at SRF. So David kind of adjusted how we were building the cabins. He's a self-taught carpenter. He's built his own cabin. He's remodeled houses and all sorts of stuff. So he was really cool to work with and learn from. That's one of the best things about these events is it's shared knowledge. It's group think tank stuff. And when someone knows better than us, we definitely defer to them. And it worked really well. I'm excited to use his techniques. I'm excited to find out more. I was able to find out how he taught himself. That was the first thing I asked him. I said, did you teach yourself all this? Did you teach yourself to build your own cabin? Weird that I was interested in that with a project I got coming up. But Backwoods says 2-hour show. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Ben was pushing 1 hour and 20 before the Starlink took a dump. But anyway, talking to David, he said he was self-taught, and he told me who he used to learn from. some of the sources. And so I'm excited to check those out. I'm excited to have his handiwork as a model for building more, because like I said, it was 100 times easier and looks way better and is probably more structurally sound and makes more sense than what Tim and I put together. So that's exciting. So we got an 8x8 cabin done, 8x8 with a porch and a window and a door, perfect for a teenage girl on a vacation with her parents to get away from them and have her own little space, but a base for a little bit of an expansion or a little bungalow to rent as we move forward into doing events or hosting folks out at the property. We made them again. We made it again so that we can add on to the base cabin. We'll easily be able to add on a side, a back, or two sides or whatever. We'll just have to plot them out, attach them, and made them modular. So right now it's an 8x8. Who knows? It might turn into a 16x16 or something similar. We're not sure quite yet. But right now it is a place where you can get inside, get dry. We can store some stuff in there or whatever. And so we got that accomplished. We didn't move on to the second cabin. Like I said, it was super warm. And the work days are more, I want to say it's about work, and we call them work days, but it's about building community. So there was a lot of stops. There was a lot of conversation, except David. David is a machine. The dude just kept rolling. But we got to have that fellowship. We got to be with the community members, and new people met each other, old friends. Like I told Tim at the end of the event, you know, if you met somebody new, and if you saw somebody you already knew and you learned something when you showed up, even if you showed up for part of a day, maybe you stayed for the whole thing, that was successful to me, as long as everybody accomplished that. So I think we did. I think we did really well. We're going to do some after action kind of get with the people that were there and see if we can make it better, what we can change, what they thought. And I think it went well. I think people were satisfied with the event, but we still had one day left. Oh, the other thing we did on Thursday was we cleared out the rest of the nursery. So the nursery, the propagation nursery that we're putting in with Kerry Brown from Strong Roots Resources, he's been doing the designing, he's doing the plant purchasing, he led the install, but we had to get the area cleared for him. I ran behind because of a couple of reasons. I know excuses are like assholes, but you know, we had 4 inches of rain in a couple days. I also broke my saw when I was when I was starting to clear the trees out of the nursery. So Thursday we had a few more trees to cut up. I had gotten them dropped before people showed up. Everything was on the ground. Everything was safely on the ground. But we needed to chunk up some pretty large trees, get them out of the way for the install that was going to happen on Friday. Carrie rolled in on Thursday afternoon. We unloaded a bunch of trees, shrubs, plants, lots of them, and got ready for an install on Friday. Corey and I headed home again. We spent the night at home. They had a little bash out there and some campground time and some shenanigans after dark. And we started again on Friday. Friday was supposed to be a barbecue day, pretty much a light work day, but with Carrie's schedule and just the way things worked out, we were going to be doing the nursery install, which went fantastic. I'm blown away. I clear shit out there. My day to day. I mean, we built the cabin, we built the outhouse, but the majority of my time so far out there has been clearing trails. It's been clearing campsites. It's been clearing the nursery. It's been beating back the forest and the overgrowth. a lot of my stuff is making paths. It's not putting things in. To have a day where we installed pushing 40 trees, shrubs, perennials, we spread wildflower in the paths, and to see and hear Carrie explain how he's going about designing this food forest, it was fantastic. It was like the opposite of everything that I do out there normally. And it went very smoothly. We had all hands on deck down there, and got these trees installed. I think we did maybe a dozen trees, all sorts of different fruit trees: apple, nectarine, plum, peach, cherry. Couple varieties of some. We got some fig trees in from Tim Riley. Dropped off 3 variants of fig trees. We got raspberries. Blackberries, blueberries, a ton of herbs and perennial medicinals into the ground. We had a ton of cardboard that we laid out for weed block, straw spread out around. We got water buckets from our water system. We carried them down there, got things watered in. And then at the end of the day, Carrie needed to prune back all the stone fruit trees. And in classic permaculture-esque fashion, he said, taking cuttings from stone fruit and rooting them to propagate them is normally done in the spring. It works well in the spring. It's done best in the spring. He's like, but we got to prune these back today. Why don't we take some of the soil and take all the cuttings we're cutting off anyway, and instead of throwing them on the ground, let's throw them in some pots and see what happens over the winter. Maybe we throw a dozen cuttings in a pot and we end up with 2. Maybe we end up with 10. Maybe we end up with none. But other than throwing them on the ground, we had nothing to do with them. So we gathered the pots that we had just emptied to plant everything, and Carrie went to work pruning. He helped educate me on how to prune. He taught a couple of us how to prepare cuttings to put them in to get them to root, to propagate them, which is going to be a purpose of this nursery. And so then we put them in our little creek that runs through the nursery down there. So not only did we have this huge install, we probably ended up with, I would say, it's 30, 40, 50. I don't know how many cuttings in pots to sit over the winter to see if we can get them to root. We'll see what happens. It was going to be tossed aside. It was going to be composted. It was going to be waste anyway. So we're doing a little experiment. And then we also have a further install come up in the spring where we have that was just made more sense to install and was a better practice to install some of the other plants in the spring. So Carrie's got that on the books. He's gonna plan that out, and we'll do that in the spring. But right now, looking at the food forest, it's really cool. I'm over the moon excited about what's going to happen at this property as it's developing, as we're getting more infrastructure there, as we're getting this food forest installed, as I'm seeing the vision Tim and I have been talking about now for 2 years, and not even 2 years. It's not 2 years yet, and I keep trying to tell myself that, and it's a reality check when people come once a year. So we had repeat visitors from last year's workday last fall. So it's been about a year. Almost, it's been about a year. It's been around a year since they had been on the property. To see their reactions to the progress. You see it on the videos I make and talk about it, this and that. To physically see their reactions when they see it and they walk it, was kind of a validation of all the sweat. It was a kind of a validation of I was probably doing enough, because I'm the person that questions themselves. Am I doing enough? Is this work up to par? And it's not that I don't think that I do good work. It's that I don't want to fall short of expectations of others. So I have someone I'm working with Toolman Tim. I know he'd be satisfied with whatever I got done, but I want to make sure he is. I want to make sure that I'm doing enough towards the property to make it progress the way it should. And to talk to people and see their reactions with what's gotten done validates the fact that I'm there. I'm doing enough. It's progressing well. That Tim and I have set good parameters as far as workload and expectations. It's the first year has been phenomenal. The changes to the property, and it's only going to progress faster the easier it gets, because as we clear out, the clearing gets easier, the maintenance gets easier. So that was really cool. And to see the food forest taking shape, just a year and a half after Corey and I had to cut our way into the property, couldn't even get off the easement road, had to cut a machete path just to get in there. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 4 buildings on the property, and a new food forest taking shape. Paths and bridges and campsites and all of that. And we were able to host a dozen campers and an event with over 30 people over 3 days. A year and a half into not being able to cut into the property with a machete. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And I'm excited to be a part of the project, and I'm excited, and it's really spurring the motivation to do more, to push a little harder, to get our stuff rolling. I was able to really front load my October work into the work days. I'll have a ton of time this month to work on our project, which has been lacking between the 2 internet outages and about with the COVIDs. So I'm excited to roll on that. So thank you. I can't thank enough, and I'm not going to list off the 30 people that showed up, because I know for sure I would forget people. And I don't want to do that, because everybody there was fantastic. Everybody there that showed up participated, put out more effort than we could have asked for or ever expected, and had a great time, I hope. And it was just, people stood out. People shine at what they're good at, but everybody had a role in this, and I don't want to diminish anybody's participation. So I have to thank all the 30 people or more that showed up, the campers that enjoyed the sites and gave a little feedback on that, the people that rolled in that helped for a little bit when they could. We had people that weren't even going to SRF, which is kind of what we did conjunction with this, was people were coming to town anyway. We had people roll in from 4, 5, 6 hours away that weren't even going to SRF, that were coming to help us. And I can't thank you enough for that, guys. And I hope if you're listening to this, if you hear this from the bottom of my heart and from Tim, thank you. And we appreciate it. And anytime anybody wants to come out and visit, let me know. That's why it's there. So that was work days. It was very successful. I was very, very, very happy. And then, because that wasn't enough, 4 days straight of absolute chaos. I should say more than 4 days. My chaos started way before that, trying to get ready. Pip in. Good morning, Pip. How we doing? Just talking about work days, and Pip was out there. So Pip was one of those guys that's been there every year. I hope he continues to come up yearly to watch the progress. If the chaos of work days and coordinating and working and all of that wasn't enough, we then moved on to SRF, which is it's a great event. But Corey and I have a little bit of we have an hour-ish drive both ways. We have to take care of the dogs. We still have to walk the dogs in the morning. As a vendor, presenter, participant, kind of back scene person at SRF, I have to get there a little earlier and stay a little later than you would as a normal just attendee. So that makes for some long days. Corey and I think we got up at 4-ish both days. had to walk the dogs and get them settled down, and then make that commute up there, spend all day in the sun. And it was hot, guys. For the first week of October, it felt a little warmer than it should. I know that we have about 5 fall summer changes here in October over the next few months, but it was on the warm side. It's supposed to be 72 and sunny today, which is fantastic. I think over the weekend it was 90. It had. What do you think? Was it 90? Corey says it was 90. It was 90 at least, and sunny. Very little breeze and a little bit high on the humid side. It was warm. Everybody there was warm, especially the folks that came from up north and were coming out of 40s and 50s and 60s and coming down there. Kyle says it had to be 95 yesterday. I wouldn't doubt it. It was hot. It kind of squashed a lot of the live stream creator tent events that we did, because the tent that we were doing them in, not only was it 95 outside, it was like a fucking sauna inside the tent. So asking people to come in and live stream was kind of a rough call, and I didn't want to do that to people. And when we were in there live streaming, basically we were just sweating. So didn't do a whole lot of live streaming. I actually looked at Corey last night. She was going through her pictures. She's very adamant on her picture taking, at least one round with all of her community there, and she was going through those, looking at videos and things. I looked at my phone and I didn't take one picture or video the whole time. As a hey, thanks for the offer for the cheap viewers over on Twitch. I don't know if Hunter's around. He just got home late and I don't think he's up. My Twitch cop. Yeah, go fuck yourself on your cheap viewers. But I didn't take one picture or video. As a content creator, it felt really weird to pick up your phone and not have any content to go through. Barely took my phone out of my pocket. Whether it was running around or just having those in-person conversations, taking advantage of the time that I had with my friends, my imaginary internet friends that I'm now meeting here in the meet space. Thanks RZ, by the way, for that new term. When you get your internet friends and you can actually poke them and touch them, and they're here in the meet space, it's definitely different. You can have all the conversations you want through text, through Telegram, through Zoom meetings, through video calls. When you can shake their hand, give them a hug, talk to them, see them, and physically be there, it is way different. So I think I took a lot of advantage of the time I had with those people, and I'm glad I did. I'm upset I don't have content, but I think it was well worth the time not on my phone, not behind the camera, not taking pictures, not recording video. It's a double-edged sword. So it is what it is. Moving forward, I mean, SRF was a great event this year. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the time with my fellow content creators and friends, and I got to call them family, really. We did a lot of let's see, Kyle did a ton of demonstrations. I got to meet my friends Kyle. I already knew him. I had already met him, but Joe Blakesley and his wife made the trip out. We shared a vendor tent with it was me and Kyle, Joe's wife, and then Tim and Becky and Curtis all had a 2 vendor tents next to each other. It was fun. It was a great atmosphere. We had a lot of community members that stopped by, that hung out. We had a place, like I said, it was super sunny, hot, a place to get out of the shade for our community. And that's what that tent always is intended to be. We call it a vendor tent. It is a vendor tent, but it's our community place. And everybody is welcome to come hang out and get out of the sun. Kyle had t-shirts for sale. We were helping him sell t-shirts, and Joe had t-shirts for sale. Tim had a bunch of Canadian shit that he brought again. Shit as in like candy and chips that I have a big bag of. I'm not saying that they aren't fantastic, but we have a big bag here. He had those out on the table. Speakers were good. I was able to catch a couple of segments, shorter segments of larger presentations. Events were as always all over the place, and really I don't know a lot that happened at the festival because I was focused on in-person connection. I was focused on spending that time with those people in real life when I had the advantage of doing that. All the presentations are going to be online. And I kind of told Nicole about this in one of our lives that we did manage to get out. My view on SRF, my MO at SRF has changed since I started going. So this was my 5th or 6th. I can't really remember how many it's been. It's been a lot. And my MO there has changed since I started going. The first time I went, I wanted to see all the speakers, all the presentations. I looked at the list. I was like, holy crap, I want to see all these people talk. And I did. And it was great. It was a ton of information. It was great to see them present live. It was educational because of both the information I got, but I also saw the different techniques they were using as live presenters. I was really excited to see that. Next time I came down, I insisted that I meet some more people. There were still some presentations I wanted to see, but it was more a networking and community building event. And then as that progressed, I can find the presentations. I can find recordings of these presentations, or I can find those people talking about what they're going to talk about. The stuff people talk about in presentations is not the only time they've talked about it, or it's not the only time they will talk about it. I can find that information. What I can't find is shaking Kyle's hand, shaking Joe's hand, talking to community members that showed up from Texas, from California, from all over the world, really not my listeners, but there's people there from all over the world that you can interact with. Everybody's available to talk. You can meet your idols, or you can meet somebody that might listen to your stuff, watch your videos. And that's what I really shifted focus. It was the main reason that we ended up getting a vendor tent eventually, to have that community area for people to grab. Backwoods Butcher says, hey, that's me. You know, people traveled, what was it, 22 hours or 29 hours, I think Kyle is, from up there in New Hampshire down to Tennessee. I mean, that is something that I appreciate, and I want to take advantage of that time that he took, and that money that he took to come down here and be close enough. And I know he didn't do it for me, but I get to benefit from that. I get to benefit from his sacrifice to come down there and be there. So Kyle says I was uncomfortable how many people knew me. It gets that way. And it's a weird space to be in. So I'm sitting here, you're all watching me. I don't see you. Kyle says it was all for me. I know it was, and SRF was just a benefit. So why the fuck can't you come down here and just hang out with us without SRF if it's all for me? You lie. I can't believe you'd lie to me like that. Rewilder Life says it's funny that I say about meeting in person. She says the joke was that she was imaginary or a Fed in the TSP Michigan group, but she had met Drew, her friend that ended up getting married, many farm workshops. Yeah, we definitely played Pick the Fed a little bit at SRF. We know we're all on lists after attending that event, I'm sure. But it was good. It was good. I saw a lot of people that I knew, and you know, the focus of Workdays, like I said, was, you know, to see somebody you knew and meet somebody new and learn something. I did that tenfold at SRF, and I learned stuff not from the presentations, but just having conversations with people, just hearing about what they're doing, what they have going on. There's so many people doing so many different things there, and it's just a wealth of information. John Palmer says we're a terrorist. Yeah, yeah, and it was interesting to. So we lost internet at an interesting time, Corey and and I kind of blacked out when we don't have internet. I have very little cell service, and it's really hard to load anything. So I'm not gonna. And I only really Backwoods Butcher says, as a presenter, you don't stop moving. Oh yeah, by the way, I presented twice at SRF, not solo. Kyle and I did a content creator round table where we went up and told people what you shouldn't do because you don't want to end up like us. No, we kind of shared our experiences, took questions from people. It was good. It was informational. I think people got what they needed out of it. And I mean, always could have been better, but I think we did well for what we had to work with. And then I was lucky enough to join Toolman Tim and Carrie Brown on stage to talk about Delinquent Scully Project, to talk about sourcing community or using community to source property, to find out how to develop it, to maybe have a situation like Tim and I have and Carrie have working on his project. It was a great chat, and I think it was well received. We had fun doing it, and that's all that really counts. But when we lost internet, it seems like a lot of shit happened. Well, there was a hurricane that ripped through the mountains of North Carolina and dumped ungodly amounts of water and the destruction that happened. I think there's people lobbing missiles at each other in the Middle East, all sorts of shit like that. I didn't know anything about it. We'd get home at night and might get a little bit of blurb about what happened, but I didn't even have the motivation or the time or energy to go into it, to look into it. And I didn't care because it didn't matter. The hurricane did matter. The people that have lost their homes did matter, but it didn't matter that I didn't have internet because the news isn't telling anybody what's actually going on. The news isn't portraying what's actually going on. And talking to people at SRF and talking to people that know people there, that know people that have gone and helped, know people that are there currently helping, know people that have brought supplies and been turned away and told that they can't deliver their supplies by not law enforcement, just people, just stop, turn around, can't get through there. The death tolls that are out there, not even close, guys. The devastation that's going on, you haven't seen it on the news. I talked to people that were there. I talked to people that were making supply runs, and they said it's not even a drop in the bucket what's being shared. And it's scary and it's sad that something can happen like that in our country, where we're supposed to be all for one and one for all, or whatever the bullshit is. United we stand, or you know what? The communities that were at SRF are the ones that are there. And I'm not saying that they're the only ones by far, but there were a ton of mutual aid groups, communities that are helping there, that are saying, and you know, really the attitude at this point is fuck them. Not fuck the people that got screwed. Fuck the media. Fuck all the people that don't give a shit. that are repressing the information, that are not letting the flow of aid, aren't letting the flow of relief. Fuck them. We'll do it ourselves. Who's going to build my roads? You know who's going to build the fucking roads? Jim Bob down the fucking road with his excavator. The guy that just lost his house, but his equipment still works. So he's out there trying to help his neighbors. The people that are out in the state that are collecting supplies and goods and driving them there because FEMA isn't there. The government isn't there. They're dropping fucking money overseas, like multiples of what they're supplying to that area. Why? There's people that are still cut off. There's people that are going to be cut off for a long time. The bodies are going to be turning up in this area for a long time. Because these rural communities were cut off regardless to begin with. Not cut off, but wanted to be left the fuck alone. Why do you live up in the mountains of North Carolina? You want to be left alone. You want it to be hard to get to you. So when something like this happens, and I learned how it was so bad, why it was so bad, was an interesting weather phenomenon, and it was a very interesting discussion with Sean Mills about how this was so devastating. But those people are there for a reason. A, they want to be left alone. B, they're trying to take care of themselves. And so let's help them do that. Let's be their support system, because as much as you want to be a hermit, as much as you want to take care of yourself, shit like this happens, and you need other loners, you need other preppers to help you out, because the people that are have the money, the aid, the government aid, we're from the government, we're here to help. Yeah, they could give a fuck about them. If all you're doing is watching the news about what's going on in eastern North Carolina, western Tennessee, start digging in a little bit. Start digging in a little bit and see if you see a different story being told some other places. I'll try to get some sources that you can check out that will open your eyes quite a bit if all you're watching is the evening news and Facebook, and only trust people that are on the ground. Let me tell you that. Making videos from the site, it's a messed up area right now, and it's going to be for a long time. So there's that. That's something I took away from SRF. SRF is going to be no longer at SOE. They made that announcement at the end of the event. They've done 8 events. Canadian Farmstead says CNN is the only trusted source. Do they have CNN north of the border? They made the announcement that after eight events at SOE Tactical, they are going to be moving the festival elsewhere. They haven't determined exactly where that is yet, but I got to thank John Willis and Amanda for opening their home, their business, and everything else to us for eight events. They've been nothing but gracious hosts the whole time. I always enjoy catching up with John and Amanda while we're there and looking at his facility and everything that happens there, and everything he's developed is a breath of fresh air and an inspiration every time we're up there. But they're moving, growth and expansion. So Nicole Sauce is actually looking into other going to be touring some other places. They might hold it here in the next few weeks, and big news to come, I guess, coming up in the near future about the future of SRF, where it's going to be held and how it's going to roll out. But John said that he's going to have some other events kind of at his place. So I'm glad I'm in this area because I'd really love to participate in those. But yeah, SRF and SOE have now parted ways to a new location. So we will. And Backwoods Butcher says, here's his plug. Stay tuned for my interview with John. Yeah, Kyle got to do a sit down podcast with John Willis, and made some really good connections. And I'm super proud of that kid to watch him flourish. He's done incredible things in the last year, and is on a pace to rocket up into the stratosphere right now. So keep an eye on the Backwoods Butcher. You can say you knew him when he was stumbling and couldn't even get through an interview with someone that he says is as good at giving interviews. You knew him first. I got one of the first Backwoods Butcher Body Shop 603 hoodies here right in my possession. So I'm excited to see where Kyle goes, along with everybody else that came up to SRF. And yeah, it was a thing. We're at an hour and 20. I should probably wrap up. I got a bunch of stuff to do to get caught up, and all I want to do is go back to bed. But got to pound out. We'll have a full week of shows. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be here all week. We're going to be back on the regular schedule. I'm not sure what we'll talk about tomorrow. I haven't really thought about it. I've had a lot on my plate, a lot to think. I got a list of topics that I've been accumulating for a while, and John Palmer says backwoods, backwards, backdoor, and Canadian Farmstead says I'm waiting for his Mankini line. Yeah. If you're ever curious about seeing Joe Blakesley and Kyle the Backwoods Butcher in Mankinis and short shorts, definitely hit Kyle's TikTok up. That was a disturbing sight, to say the least. Yeah, I'm excited to be back to the show. Little teaser, a couple little teasers coming up here. I'm trying to figure out how it's going to happen, but I had one of these. I donated to, well, I didn't. Blockstream donated one through me, a Jade hardware wallet. We donated it to the giveaway at the charity giveaway at SRF to raise money for hurricane relief. And my contact over at Blockstream, Drew, was kind enough to send out multiples, so I get to give one away also. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. I'm thinking possibly Telegram, the Telegram group, maybe t.me/LOTSchat. If you, I'm guessing it's probably going to go that way. So if you're interested in winning a Blockstream Jade, definitely hit over at t.me/LOTSchat and keep an eye out for a post. And if it ends up being given away another way, you can leave the group or stick around because we have a good time over there, and lots of great folks participate over in that chat, and some boneheads like Kyle. So I got that. I also am spinning up a little bit of a new project as far as content goes. I'm thinking about pretty well set on getting a new shorter interview style show spun up. I've had an opportunity presented to me to be part of a podcast network of some really successful folks in that industry. And it requires a different style of podcast. So I'm trying to put that together with not as little effort, but to be able to fit it into my workload and workflow. And I think I figured out how to do it. So that should be spinning out here in the near future. And it'll be interesting, I think. I think it'll be a fun little show. It'll target 15 to 30 minutes. So it's not going to be an hour and a half long interview shows, and Kyle has requested that I start doing those again. So maybe every once in a while. It's not going to be a regular thing. It's not going to be scheduled. It's not going to be a must, but I might sit down with some folks and chat with them because I do enjoy it. And I think it's some good content. So big things coming up in the near future. We're going to be working out at Delinquent Scully, getting our cabin built so we can stay out there and care for the property and develop it even quicker. So anyway, guys, it was good to be back. I appreciate all of you hanging out for the 2 weeks while I was gone, taking care of some shit, getting our internet back, and then building community and stronger relationships and getting some shit done here in Tennessee. I'm going to wrap it up now. And man, talking for an hour after talking for a week straight is it's going to be interesting. Corey will be happy. I'll have to shut up all day today to make sure I can talk again in the morning. She'll have some nice peace and quiet during the day. So anyway, guys, if you want to help support the show, you can always hit the subscribe. You can share it with someone you know that might want to tune in every Monday through Friday morning from 6 to 7 Central. You can also visit TheLOTSProject.com. You can find my recommended companies there, recommended products and partner companies, affiliate links. You can always swing over to the YouTube reviews. Click on any of those affiliate links. I'll get a little credit from Amazon. Also going to be rolling out some featured products in the near future. Some companies I'm working directly with instead of Amazon. I got some new companies that I've been striking up some deals with, and going to have some featured products. And just to let you know, if you have been thinking about the C4 Club, Food Forest Farms Coffee Club, you might want to think about joining sooner rather than later. There's a limited amount of spots. And I did some pretty heavy promotion at SRF, and I know Brian's been pushing out some pretty heavy promotion in some places of out there locally. So only got a few spots left. You're going to want to sign up and get in before you can't. If you like great coffee at a great price and just some other phenomenal benefits, check out C4 Club at foodforestfarms.com. Hey guys, have an awesome day. Make it an awesome Monday. Get some shit done. And I'll catch up with you guys in the morning.